Good morning. Today is a good day. Today is the first day of 2024. And I want to talk about creating portals between the higher realms, the invisible realms, and the physical realm. An invisible realm, I mean invisible to our 3D senses, to these senses, but when we go inward, when we go into a state of meditation, when we go into a state of manifestation, when we go into a state of imagination, when we go inward, when we shut out the outer world and we go inward to our inner essence, it's connecting, first of all, to the source. We're connecting to the higher realms where everything in creation comes from. Everything that is in creation was a thought first, was an action first, came into being through some kind of event, through some kind of energy um, expenditure. I want to call so like spending energy. So when we go into meditation, when we go into manifestation, when we go into our inner world and we start manifesting, imagining what it is that we want, and we start bringing emotion into it, all of us on this path have understanding in the power of creation that we have and the power of manifestation and how we create our own realities. This is all pretty basic, that we go inward, and the more that we can imagine it with detail, the more that it shows up in our lives, and then we let go and we allow it to come through the physical world and manifest into our physical world, the things that we are imagining, the things that we are um, it's almost it's believing before they are here that they are here. It is imagining that they already are in 3D existence before we actually see the manifestation in the physical world. So sometimes there is a gap in between what we want to manifest to what our lives look like, right? And so then in our perception, we have to choose. Are we living this life already, even though our current circumstances are looking like this? But in perception, in our mindset, in our perspective, in our imagination, in our belief, we are already living this. We are already feeling worthy of this. We are already seeing the like it's like the coming of this. We're already seeing the details of it arriving before the big, it's like you're getting this big massive gift with, but it has like let's say, how could I put this, because I'm kind of seeing like an octopus with lots of legs, but the legs come in and become evident before the octopus comes in, so you start seeing the signs of its manifestation. And as you start seeing the signs, you start believing it more and more and more, and the signs are very, very subtle in the beginning, very subtle. I put the camera here so that I actually stood it so that I can just speak freely and not be holding the camera. But Lola came here next to the camera, so I'm kind of on, because it's kind of sitting on this stone. Okay, she sat back down next to it. Thank you for the coffee. And so when we start seeing the tails, start seeing the tentacles of our manifestation coming into reality, then our belief grows stronger. But we do have to see the physical plane. Things always happen much slower in the physical plane because they have to come out of, they have to be created in this plane. So you have to hold this thought. And a lot of times it's completely twisting our perspective around what we were raised to believe, the way that we were. Lola, move on, please. Move on. Go that way. Go that way. She just knocked the camera. There she went. And so it's like a lot of times we have to twist our whole minds around because of how we were conditioned when we were small children. We were conditioned to expect certain things, to believe certain things. And if you notice, you always get your expectations. Expectations manifest. Um, but true expectations. I'm talking about the way that it's like the underlining expectation, the blueprint, your foundation. If you in your foundation you were raised in a house that is poor and that it's difficult to make a living, and you always are in a struggle around it, and only sometimes can you pay your bills on time, and that is going to be the mindset that you are raised into, and that will be like your musts. That will be what you receive in your life as an automatic until you can change your perception and your perspective and your expectation and your what you expect to see and what you feel like you are worthy of. It's a complete mindset. It's a complete switch in mindset. Whereas children that were raised in families that had um, any means that they wanted. Everything was open. All options were on the table, and they're more likely um, to as an adult manifest that. Notice how we always seem to manifest right around the same. Like we get the same things from the world as our parents did, as our grandparents did, as our, everything is of course in relevance to the world that is around you. But what I really want to talk about is creating portals, creating your own portal between your manifestation, what you are imagining, what you are manifesting, what you are bringing into your life, and the physical world. So as you begin on this process and you begin manifesting, the two things are separate. You have your inner world, your manifestation, the things that you want, the things that you are bringing into your world, and then you have the physical world, which is giving you a reflection of what is, what is, what is, what is. And the thing with this reflection of what is that when we are solely connected to our bodies and to our five senses of the physical world, then we take reality as our reality becomes what we see with our five senses, what we see, sense, feel, and what we are getting from the 3D realm. So then on the 3D realm, we continuously manifest in a circular way because we're seeing what we're manifesting. It's reinforcing our belief of what we're worth, what we can achieve. And this is an automatic process. Whereas when we're manifesting something new, we have to completely change our thoughts, our beliefs, what we believe we're worth, our perspectives, the way that we were born, the way that the way that we were not born, the way we were conditioned as early children. So it is a feat. It is a life mission to change. Our minds are so elastic. Our minds, think about it. Our minds are the most magnificent tool that we have. Think about people that were raised in China, people that were raised in the States, people that were raised in Saudi Arabia, people that were raised in Israel, people that were raised even within Israel. Somebody that was raised in a kibbutz or somebody that was raised in a village are going to have completely different realities, completely different mindsets, and they are conditioned into this mindset. But when you really think about it, your mind, when you can free it of the conditioning, your mind is open to everything. Your mind is like a sponge. I mean, imagine like we learn language. Think about it. Think about how complex just knowing one language is, right? The words, we have to learn how to make sounds with our mouths and a series of sounds in each word, which has a meaning, which we put into sentences, which each word has a different meaning. And we do it in a way that is just automatic. We say things without even having to think about the words. And think about how complex language is. And we learned this, and our minds are like superpowers. We don't have to think about the words that we say. We just say them, and other people can understand what we're saying, and they can. And think about how we learn how to put those words in exact sequence so that another person can understand. Think about learning music. Think about people that know two languages. Think about how magnificent our mind is. How just absolutely amazing our mind is. Now we can manipulate our own mind, and we can change our own thoughts, and we can create our own realities. We can decide what we're going to think. We can choose our perspective. We can create through our mind and through our emotion. When we sync our mind and our emotion, when we know emotionally what we want, we can think of, we can see it, we can imagine it, we can feel it, we can even go into our senses in this imaginary plane, right? This hand is the manifesting, and this is the physical. Okay, so when we go into this world, the manifesting world, right, we can even go into our senses and imagine how it feels, imagine what it tastes like. We can activate our senses in this realm and make our manifestations real. And in order to create a portal between this world and this world, first of all, we have to have this world already cooked, right? We have to be able to go into this world and bring it alive with our imagination, bring it, make it all, imagine it in the physical world. And then we have to, in this world, slowly create the circumstances by making choices that are closer and closer to this reality, right? So if in this reality, um, m- yeah, I'm trying to think of something that is very simple that you can do, something that I do in my life. For instance, I want a life partner. So one of the things that I did was make sure that my bed is clear and clean. Like I used to go to bed and I'd have clothes on the other side of the bed. So I think I do now anyway. But so clearing off that side and making room for another person, or in my making a comfortable home that is able to support this life with whatever means that I have, right? If in this life I want to create a life where I have freedom, then give myself more and more freedoms. If in this life I am in a place of softness, and I am in a place of beauty, and I'm a place of relaxation, then creating more of that in this realm to support this dream, right? It's to it. So this is one thing that we are doing, is creating in the physical world where we can, without effort. This is effortless, right? Because if we want this world to work for us, it has to come in nature naturally. So it's slowly making decisions and new efforts. And this is perfect for New Year's. you know if I want to meditate in the morning, which I do, I put my clock on much earlier than when my children get up, so that I have that time to meditate and do what I want to do before I get my children up for school. And then it frees the rest of my day for me to do whatever it is that I need to do or want to do. Or it's taking a step when you have this dream and you know what it is, and you can taste it and you can feel it and you can imagine it and you can hear it and you can see it and you can feel it, and you're making it more and more real with every moment. You imagine it as many times as you can a day. If you start feeling pressure coming up, go into this world. You have an entryway through your inner self into this world. Sit for 5 minutes, imagine your dream again, and then when you come back into the world, anything that you are doing in the physical world has to support this, or at least can't counter. At least don't do something that is countering this dream. And I understand that there are things like going to work that don't fit with this dream, but right now we need this in order to make a living, because this world isn't completely manifested in the physical world. So I understand this because it is a shift. Sometimes you have massive shifts that just go like that, and sometimes there's shifts that are a little bit more gradual as the path opens up for you. But in order to create a portal between this world and this world, it is through action, and it is through inspired action. You can create a little portal that connects this world and this world through taking action towards this dream. So if you have this dream, and in this dream you have something solidified, something that you can see, something that you can actually see in your mind's eye, then start taking in the physical world some kind of step towards it but also bring down from this world a behavior or a some kind of the first portal that you bring is going to be the size of a thread, the size of it could be the size of a silk thread that comes between the two worlds. But as long as you open some kind of portal between this world and this world, you can work on already expanding it, because once you create that thread that connects the two worlds, you are already going to start seeing in the physical world manifestations of the dream that you have. And that is going to begin to reinforce your belief and give you more and more momentum in your dream. So in order to create that portal, you have to create it through energy. It's just like I said at the beginning of this video, that everything that is in the physical world has come through some kind of action, some kind of of energy expansion, like spending energy. Even these stones came through volcano. These are volcanic stones, and they came through some kind of action. They were actually shot out of the volcano as lava, and they landed all over these lands, all over this land, all over the Galilee. Imagine how immense that explosion had to have been in order to create these stones being shot all over these mountains. And these mountains here, it's just like they say in the Bible, and I didn't want to mean to get into the Bible, but we got there. This land is like the land of milk and honey. This land is so rich. Anything that you grow in this land, this land is so fertile. And it's also, when you come down into this valley of the Jordan Valley, of the where the Sea of Galilee is, and it goes on all the way down. There's a rift. It's the Syrian African rift that runs right through where I'm sitting, through this valley. That is the lowest place on earth, and it goes all the way down to the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth, and there's a big sea there. And imagine that everything from the surrounding mountains comes down into this rift and flows down the Jordan River. Imagine the energy of thousands and thousands. Nothing escapes. Everything just comes into. So imagine the Dead Sea is a sea that only evaporates. There's nowhere for the water that comes into that sea to go. There's nowhere for it to go. It's only, and that's where the hot springs are also, in this valley. This valley is like a deep valley that everything runs into. So imagine all of the topsoil running from all of the mountains, all of, the streams and the creeks are natural purifiers of the earth, and they bring down everything into this valley. And so imagine how plush this valley is, and the Sea of Galilee, and how everything is here is just so rich. Now I'm thinking, and I'm going to connect this back to the manifesting. Think that how rich this valley is with the topsoil and everything that comes down into it in nature. This is the perfect place for manifesting your future. You can feel the energy when you come here. You can feel, first of all the mountains around you tell stories, because there's history on everywhere you look. There's an ancient story that happened when you are in this area. There's the story. There's so many things that happened on the Sea of Galilee, and that Jesus walked here, and down in this valley that I'm sitting right above now has ancient aqueducts that bring down water, and they had an ancient mill down here. And so everywhere that you look, there's a story. You can feel the energy of all of the people that have walked this land before us, and everything is washed down into this valley. And the Yarmouk Valley is over here, and that's where the water comes out of the depths of the earth and bubble up around you. It feels like you are in heaven on earth. This is heaven on earth. And so when you are manifesting, the secret between manifesting the creation that you are creating, and so another secret, it's not even a secret. It's like knowledge is not a secret. Knowledge is just for us to uncover. So another aspect of it, another way to bring your manifestations into the physical world, is to create a portal. You create a portal by creating some kind of physical movement, some kind of action, something that that, if you are imagining a piece of land that you want, go in and start looking at lands that are available. It'll open up that revenue, that avenue. It'll open up that in your life, and it'll create a connection between your manifesting world and the physical world. And you have to create it, and you have to imagine it as much as possible and hold that belief until you start seeing the seeds of that manifestation created in the physical world. And you can always see them, and watch your mind, watch your perspective, look, see how you are looking at things. Be very, very particular and careful with your thoughts, and try to put like sticks in your own spokes. Like when you go off on an automatic, always think before you answer. Think, where is this answer coming from? Am I answering automatically? Is there something different that can be said here? We're opening our mind. We're opening the plushness of our mind and allowing other things to come in that are different than the way that we are raised, because we want to create a rich life, a life that is full of all sorts of different perspectives and different ways of seeing things. We want to be able to see other people's perspectives and the life that they are sitting in, so that we can enhance and enrich our own lives. And we want to create lives that are worth living, that we enjoy living, that we want to live. And through this, part of it is manifesting. We are creators, and that is what we have come here to do. We have come here to expand energy, and everything is energy. Everything. This stone is energy. It's energy solidified. This is the tail end of energy. This is the lowest vibration. This is something that came into already physical form. So the vibration is so low that it can be manifested into something solid that you can see, that you can't go through. This is also a manifestation. This is a little bit less dense, because it's a live manifestation that is constantly changing. This is also constantly changing. But so, and our inner beings, that are our God essence, are the essence of ourselves, that the entity that is inside, that is looking out of our eyes, is not this body. This body is the vessel of that. So that is our true essence. And that essence has come into this body, and 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 in this process of manifesting, it's all the same thing. It's also rising into your spiritual alignment with your true self. And through that, you learn how to manifest. That's kind of like a consequential. As you rise and you learn who you are, consequentially of that, you learn how to manifest, because they go hand in hand. Because once you know that you are this being, and you are an energetic being, and everything in the world is energy, and that you are influencing and being influenced, and you consciously understand this, and you rise up into this realm, and then you're living from this point of view. Everything in the physical world becomes your tail. It becomes like, oh, I want this, zap into the physical world, zap, zap. That's where we're headed. We're rising into this other plane, which is the energetic plane, where everything in the physical world is just like a playground. So then we're sitting in our soul seat. Our body is our vessel, so we take care of our body. It's like we are two beings. We are the physical being, and we are the higher being. And the physical being is ruled by the ego, and the higher being controls the ego and the physical body. And we look out for it with love. We love that being, just like we love somebody else. We love our own selves. It's like, oh, look at this magnificent being that I am. I'm going to create this wonderful life for this being that I am. Let's go out and have fun. This being and me together. My higher being and my physical being marry, and they become one. And my higher being understands that this physical body is the ultimate tool. The ego and the body are the ultimate tools that were given to me for this magnificent, wonderful experience of life that we are taking nothing with us. We are connected to everything. We're taking nothing with us. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, the way we look, is one, if we get into it. So it's kind of like we get to dress up our own body and make it look different. And two, so that we can be kind of acceptable from other people. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It's all just an experience. There is nothing to prove. And all of the knowledge is all around us. And it's just uncovering knowledge and making this life as exciting and as beautiful and as wonderful and magnificent and meaningful and loving. Love is the language of the world. So I think that I have summed this up. What this video is about creating a portal between the world that you are manifesting and the physical world, and you create that portal through inspired action. Inspired, I say, because when you take action through fear, you are closed off. You are working only in the physical world. Fear is of this physical plane. Fear is not of this higher being. There is no fear in the higher being. In the higher being, everything just is as is, and everything is perfect as it is. And we are part of everything. We are part of creation. We are part of the all. We are part of God. We are part of the universe. We are part of source. We are connected to source at all times. And when we understand this, and this is why we have the ego holds us apart from it so that we don't just lay down on the stones and dissolve back into everything, because we understand that it doesn't matter anyway. This is just all we are here to do is expand existence, expand God, expand existence. That's all this is expansion. Everything is in constant expansion. You can look inward and you can see it. We are in constant expansion. Whatever isn't in expansion is in decline. So we are in constant expansion. You look at the universe, you look at the stars are in constant expansion. Everything is constantly moving and expanding. Look at life. A tree is an expansion. And then even when it goes back into the earth, it's still an expansion because it's still in movement. It's still changing form. It's still feeding life that comes after it. So everything is in constant expansion. And so when you look at that, you can see that the point of this is constant expansion. And when we are in expansion, when we are expanding the universe, when we are giving our gifts, when we are manifesting, when we are learning, when we are creating life, when we are raising our children, when we are making videos, explaining ideas, when we are, expanding, then we are in love, and we are in love with ourselves, and we are feeling love, and we are speaking the language of love, and we feel wonderful inside when we are expanding. And so as we expand, we know that we are in the right place. So it's always searching after the feeling good place, the feeling good place. That's why I say inspired action between this world and this world. Action is what connects between things, always. Action and time. Then you can, with massive action, you can shorten time, and some things you just have to allow them to run their course. So action and time, so energy and time is what manipulates space and matter. So space and matter move, which is action, which is energy, on time. So in order to have matter, you have to have space, right? Because space is contained by matter, right? And matter contains space. So it's a yin and yang, they go together. Time and energy go together because with time, with no energy, their time can't exist. And energy cannot be spent without the avenue of time. So everything is all connected. That's the 3D form here. So the 3D form, so we are taking from the ethers things that are not constrained by space, matter, time, and energy, right? Because when you go into your inner self, you are not contained by those things. You are limitless. You can imagine anything that you want. You can go back and forth between time. When you go inward into this imaginary, into the meditative state, you're timeless, you're spaceless, you're matterless, you are energyless, right? You can go anywhere in that space, in that place. And that is why you can bring those things down. That is why you have to, that is why it takes longer to actually manipulate things that are in this 3D realm. But in that place, it's only pure intention and pure potential. There is nothing in existence in that place. So you can be a wonderful manifester in your imagination, but if you don't bring it into and create that portal and bring it into the physical realm in some way, in some sort of way, even just writing down an idea is bringing it into the physical. It's the bringing something into words, from here into words, is the simplest form of manifestation, right? Making this a video, it's the simplest form of manifestation. And so when you understand this, that you can go into these higher realms that are limitless, they are not constrained and contained by these four dimensions, right? These four different, I'm going to say dimensions, but I know that that's not the word, but I'm not going to get caught up on it, right? By these four aspects, then you can create it, and then create through energy and time, you can pull those things down into space and matter. And so that's why I'm saying inspired action. Inspired action is action out of love, is action is action that creates worlds. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I really appreciate you guys watching. Sending you guys so much love. Thank you.